Hey there and welcome back to Startup Chuck. Today we're going to talk about business setup. So you might wonder what there is to business setup and do you need to set up a business yet? Well, it really depends on your prototyping. So can you prototype your product without having to raise capital? If you don't have to raise capital, then you probably don't need to set up your business yet, and you might find that you'll save money that way because you can just continue to prototype and you may never actually ever get to the point where you are ready to raise any money. So you don't need to have your business set up at all. Or you might lose interest. So let's just say, though, for the sake of argument, that you do need to raise some money, either through friends or family, and in order to get your prototypes made. So first thing you want to do in a business setup is you want to think of a name, right? So a domain search is a great way to do it. So let's go to a domain name company. We're going to go to GoDaddy and let's look up, we'll just use bananabopper.com. Now, look at that. I can get bananabopper.com for a penny for, the first year. Great. So that's the first thing you want to do. Is your domain name available? If it's not available, then you just got to keep looking and thinking of new names. Now, one thing I like to do is I like to create a matrix in Excel or a list of all the possible names that I could have. Use your friends and family. It's great to have a whiteboard up and then everybody's throwing out ideas about what the product might be. So let's say the product is, some sort of banana peeler, right? If you're doing that, then you basically would say, okay, what are things that remind you of bananas? Fruit or peel and then what is the thing doing? And so you create word clouds of the different aspects of it, and then you mash them all together, and then you run all those ideas past each other and see which ones, end up in everybody's top 10 list for coolest name. And then go back to GoDaddy.com or some other domain site and search and see if it's available. So in this circumstance, it is available, which is great. So the next thing you need to do is double check trademark, because just because you own the domain doesn't mean you have the trademark. So in order to do that, we would want to go to the USPTO trademark search. And so I had shown you this a little bit earlier. Again, make sure you have the actual uspto.gov website, and you want to click on it. And then we're going to go into the trademark electronic search, and we're going to do a basic wordmark search. And then we can do live and dead, and we can look up banana bopper. Okay. Try all one word. And let's just see what other things have bopper in them. And you could go through and see whether or not there is anything related. Boppers, peanut butter nut based snacks, etc. And similar to the patent search and trademark search that I talked about before, you would basically want to go through all these. In this case, there is 108 records found. If you don't care about the dead ones, you can go back, only look at live ones, and you have significantly less. Now there's only 20. So you can go through here. Okay. Chances are, though, banana bopper, the trademark, would be available. Let's say you don't have to trademark anything. If you look at this package, for example, you can see that it says banana bopper TM. TM means I'm staking my flag in the sand for trademark, meaning it's not registered. I didn't get the little R around it, but I'm letting everybody know I plan on potentially trademarking this in the future, and don't use it, it's mine. And so you'll see that a lot of places, they put TM on everything. And if you plan on trademarking anything, you should put a TM up in the corner. It is easier to defend if you ever get into a trademark lawsuit, which I hope you don't. Later on, if you say, look, I've been putting TM next to this for years on all of these things, and I should have a right to it. And then typically the court would side with whoever had the most use of it early on. So that way, if somebody does go in and try and get your trademark out from underneath you, you could prove that you had been using it for years prior. When you actually register a trademark, which isn't very expensive, it will eventually add that little R around the corner, and then you have, actual legal rights to then sue other people if they infringe on your trademark. So you do a trademark search, like I state, and then the next thing that I like to do is do a business name search. So, for example, in Utah, if you want to register your business, you would go to the Utah Business Government website, which if I just look up Utah Business Registration here, it's actually, be careful you don't go to the first few, it's all sponsored links, right? So you go to the online business registration here, and you would click it, and I'm going to open it in a new tab because I actually want to do business registration name search, see if that'll come up. Utah Business Search, there you go. So you can come here and type in a company. If I see here, Crown Roller, does that come up anymore? Crown Roller Cycling. So like with my previous company, Crown Roller Cycling LLC, which is now expired, you'd want to come in here and see if anybody else has the same name of the company that you're looking to do. And it doesn't have to mean that it's your product per se, but your company name itself. And so in this case, it's expired, so therefore I'd be free to use the company name in Utah, rather. Now, there is whether or not you want to do an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp, and which state you want to file in. Most people who do tech companies file in Delaware. And that is because the entire venture capital world and business world prefers Delaware law. And since most companies were registered in Delaware over the years, Delaware has the most business-friendly law and precedence in law than any other state. And so there's a lot of benefits to if your company gets sued, then it gets sued in the Delaware court, and then therefore it's, I guess, a lot more known what will happen in the case. If you're not going to have a tech company, and you can always change it too, it's kind of a pain, but if you're not going to have a tech company, I would say register in your home state, unless it's ridiculously expensive for some reason. But it's just much easier to be able to register in your own state. If you register out of state, like Delaware, for example, you have to have a P.O. box out there. You have to have somebody who goes and registers on your behalf and is a managing person for that registration, and it's a big hassle. So you can do it, but again, you're going to be spending a lot of money to have somebody else register for you, versus in Utah, it cost me $53 to do a business registration for a year. So, hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars versus 53. This is a bootstrap startup that I'm trying to teach people to do, not, high value tech company. But if you have the money from investors, or you think you will, then that's when you'd want to do that. But you could even do that after your seed funding. If you get seed funding and then use that money to change your business registration, you could totally do that. The point, though, of registering your company, getting an LLC, is protection. You want to have protection. And okay, this is my warning, legal warning. I am not a lawyer. I take everything I have with a grain of salt. But LLCs are designed to give you limited liability. This is why people set up LLCs, so that if somebody sues them, they sue the company for the company's assets, not you personally for your personal assets. And if you are an individual and you are the only member of your LLC, you can do pass-through taxation. And again, I'm not an accountant, so take this at face value, but you can typically do pass-through taxation so that you don't have to file separate taxes for your company. It just goes through all your personal taxes, which again, you want to keep your finances separate in terms of it's really good to have separate bank accounts for your business compared to your personal accounts. And then it's also good to have very good record keeping for your receipts and things like that. And I'll probably do an episode on all of that later on. But for now, so you do a trademark search, you do a business name search. So I, for example, searched for Crown Roller, and here it is. And, it's available, let's say. If I wanted to do Banana Bopper Tech, let's see what shows up. Nothing. It's available. Great. Register it. Awesome. So you don't want to register yet. And the reason is that you want to have somewhere all of the emails for all the registrations you're coming through are going to go. So my suggestion is, this is where you now go to Google and you want to create an email. So banana, well, you just put your first and last name in, Charles Startup, whatever. And you hit next, right? Enter in some info for your birthday. I have no idea. What's Valentine's Day? 1977. Okay. Rather not say confirm. And then create your own, and you do something like Banana Bopper is great. And you check. It worked. Okay, so then you'd finish it. I'm not going to finish it because I really don't need that email. And I don't want to take it away from somebody who might want that email. So let's see here. After that, basically, you got your email you're going to use to start storing everything that you get there. So the nice thing that comes with that is spreadsheets. So you can now use a spreadsheet in Google Docs, for example, for all businesses email info. And basically every site you go to, GoDaddy, Gmail, Patent Office, business registrations, you can put the dates in, you can put login info if you want, all sorts of info in here. And it's great because you know when registrations will come up, what websites that you had to use to do it. And if you ever have to go back and do it all again, you know, like the process that you're going to be going down through. So you got your email. So now you want to go back and get your domain on GoDaddy. So you made sure it was free. Make it yours. Do all the sign up, etc. Then what you're going to want to do is you don't need to get your trademark. You know that's available already. You can just start putting TM next to everything. So you're going to now do your business registration. So this is the Utah Commerce website. Of course, you're going to be on your own. But for here, you can just simply do a one-stop business registration. You fill out a bunch of forms. And then the key here, though, is you are actually going to need at some point in this process, even with pass-through taxation, a federal tax number for your LLC. That's called an FEIN. So you're going to want to go to google.com, oops, spell it right, and you're going to look for FEIN registration. Okay, now here's another trick. Don't accidentally click on things that look like the federal government's website. It's none of these. IRS.gov, apply for an employer identification number. Now, something to note is if you're trying to do this in the middle of the night, this website is only open during business hours. You cannot get an FEIN number, which is basically a business social security number, during the night. You have to do it during the day. So you might get halfway through your business registration and find out, oh man, I can't get this, and then you have to pause and then get it during the day and then finish it off. So with that in mind, it's good to actually get this ahead of time during the day if you like doing your work at night, and then at night when you go to apply for your business registration, then you have this already done. And the names need to match between this and your LLC. So make sure you get that appropriately. Right here it says Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't make the mistake that most people do where they get to do this on a weekend and you can't do it. So you get your FEIN, you go and you do your online business registration, and then what that's going to spit out is a certificate of organization. And so for me, it's of Startup Chuck LLC. And it goes through and I'll use the articles, and here's my registration and all sorts of things. If you looked at my business online, you'd find all that anyways, because it's public record. So you got that, you got your business registration, you got your articles. Now for your LLC, every state is different. Again, don't take anything I state with any sort of legality or weight, but typically you have to have meeting minutes and hold them, and depending on your state, it might be monthly, it might be annually, and then you're supposed to file those with the state in order for your LLC to be legal. Otherwise, you just file an LLC, and then how do they actually know that you're trying to be a business, right? So that is a step that a lot of people forget to do, and it doesn't have to be anything special. And there's typically, they'll have requirements written down in the state rules for what minutes need to include, but usually the date, the time, what you talked about, and who was there. If it's just you, there's not much there. And then you just print that off and either email it in or attach it inside their online database or mail it to them physically. I know they like doing things like physical mail at a lot of government buildings, so that's something that you might need to do. And then your company at that point is basically all set up. So from that point, you really need to think about getting money, which will be another step of this process. But I hope that was pretty good for an idea of how to do basic business setup. Should save you a lot of time, especially the headache with the federal government not being open except for during regular business hours. So if you like what you heard, like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.